Hey Turk, look!
What?
That's weird.
What's weird?
Then where did the others go?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry, here, look.
Whoa, someone's moving into the McClary's house. Guess those are our new Corps officers.
Corps officers?
You know, pastors for a church.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Grandpa said the new officers would get here today.
Why do you keep calling them officers?
You know, it's a Salvation Army thing. Like all our church stuff has army names.
Grandpa says we use names to help us remember we're fighting for God and for love in the world. Like, you know how we're all junior soldiers and how our pastors are in charge of us? They rank higher, they're officers. And our church is sort of like their battle squad.
Battle squad sounds pretty cool. Maybe I'll paint that on the roof of the treehouse.
Add it to all the other nicknames you put up there.
You know it. Anyway, what does an officer do?
A little of everything, right? You know how Captain McCleary would preach on Sunday mornings? And remember how Mrs. McCleary drove us all to camp last year? Remember how they both served chili at the cookout?
Hey, gang! Bram, I found those paintbrushes you asked for.
Thanks.
So, what are you all chatting about?
About officers and how they make chili?
Serve chili.
Right.
Well, I guess that's one thing they do. You know they do more than that, right?
I've just pulled up the Officer Covenant online. It says officers are called by God to tell people about Jesus, love the poor, and support the Salvation Army.
God calls people? Like, on the phone?
Like my mom from the front porch at dinner time?
Maybe. God calls people in all different ways. Remember when we were talking about Abraham? In that story, God actually walked up to Abraham like a regular person and told him what he had planned.
If I met God, I'd ask him a million questions.
Before or after you asked him to proofread that dictionary of everything you wrote?
No, I don't even you're a dictionary.
Anyway, nowadays people find God's calling in lots of different ways. Sometimes they hear him when they pray. Other times, lots of parts of their lives are all pointing in one direction. If we listen, we'll hear when God's trying to speak to us.
God called the McClearys to serve chili?
Well, there's a lot to it, actually. Officers lead our church, and they also help the poor in our city. They work to build relationships with other churches in our town so that we can all make it better together. Sometimes there are people out there who are hurting or hungry or stuck in situations they can't get out of. Officers have to reach out to all kinds of different people and show them Jesus' love. Because that's an officer's most important job of all, following Jesus. We need to act like Jesus to the world. And our officers, well, they set the example.
Sounds really hard. Is that why the McClearys left? Because they couldn't handle it?
Or did they get in trouble?
No, of course not. The McClearys did a great job here. But sometimes, when we're following God's calling, he sends us away from our home. And often, he'll do it more than once. When the Salvation Army transfers an officer away, it doesn't mean that the officer did a bad job. It just means that the Army had a job to do in another town, and it needed the officer's help. And when they call one officer family away, they always send new officers to take their place. That means that we get the chance to keep building our church family bigger and bigger, because every few years we'll get to welcome a new officer home.
So, God called the McClearys to come here and then leave again. And God called this new family to come to us in their place?
But we don't know anything about them. What if we don't like them?
People are easier to like when you look at them the way God does. God sees us all as people he created, people he called to do good things. People who maybe make mistakes sometimes, but who are trying to live the way he wants them to. God sees you that way, and he sees our officers that way too.
So you're saying we should be extra nice on Sunday?
Or we could go be extra nice to them right now. They don't know anybody here.
We should bring them a present.
I've got a bag of jelly beans. Well, half a bag.
Maybe I have something down in the command center. At the very least, a bag of jelly beans that no one's opened yet.